That's my baby. I'm dying.
That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Good evening, sports fans. It's Monday night. The Sports Hounds are live exclusively on A2DRadio.com. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Frank Vesby's producing the show, per usual. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, and Periscope. If you miss anything here on A2D Radio, download us wherever you get your podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Takeover Talk. We're absolutely everywhere. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Turn those notifications on. Don't miss a damn thing here on A2D Radio. The Sixers land, Brad, is burning to the ground.
Yeah, I've seen some of the ridiculous.
It's on fire right now. It's just
some of the ridiculous comments that are being made and trades that are being tossed.
People
around.
think that we're gonna get handed Dame Lillard or one of these max guys.
Dame Lillard for Ben Simmons. I mean,
for a stiff like Ben Simmons, a coward like Ben Simmons. You know what, Brad? A wise woman once told me, Brad, that your talent is God's gift to you.
Right.
How you use that talent is your gift to God. And God damn it, Brad, if Ben Simmons doesn't spit in the face of God every time he steps on the damn basketball court, because he is nothing but a waste of God-given talent. I've never seen an athlete that doesn't want to get better. Brad, if I could dunk the basketball, Brad, I'd want to do it every time down the floor. If I could get to the rim and just pound my opponents into submission, I would do it every time down the floor. And, playing good defense, make your teammates better, that's all fine and cute. But, you got to be a killer. You got –
absolutely. No, there's no you can't be that way. You can't be that way. I mean, you've got to embrace winning. You got to make winning the only thing you care about. And
you see him in this press conference after the game, and he looks like he saw a ghost. It looks like he doesn't understand what happened. I bet you if you pin Ben Simmons down without PR people, without his team of family around, which coddles him, he thinks he played good in these playoffs. I don't think he understands.
I know.
I don't think he understands.
No,
and he looks at people criticizing him like, well, what do you mean? I'm not the problem. I'm an all-star. I don't know, but we're gonna take a break on that.
He's pretty much clueless.
He can't read the room. And then, Brad, I open my Facebook page every morning, every day. I'm on social media as much as I possibly can be with my line of work, and I still see people defending him. Well, if you give me 8 with great defense, that's not really that bad. I'll take that all day. No, not that's what the guy making. That's
$30 million. You have to score more than 8 points a game. Come on.
Exactly. If Ben Simmons was making $40 million, that's great. You're playing lockdown defense.
He's making $37 million. He's got to be averaging 20 points a game, 5 to 6 assists a game, and 5 to 6 rebounds a game. He has to have Harden-like numbers. That's what he should be. That's what he should be doing. And there's no excuse for it. And he's got a great center, to play with too. And that's even more disgraceful.
I do think that there'll be takers for Ben Simmons. I don't see how you bring him back. I don't see how he's on the basketball team next year on opening night. I don't see how you do it.
If you can't get a decent trade for him, then you could always try him at power forward and sign him. No,
he can't. He can't be here. Someone else can take him. Someone else can put him. He can't be here. He can't.
I mean, but you know what?
If that means, Brad, I have to take a dog shit diminished return, then that's what I'm going to have to do. It's like Markelle Fultz. Yeah, Markelle Fultz is kind of working out in Orlando. He actually looks like he knows how to play basketball, but he was never going to be that here. Ben Simmons will never reach his full potential in Philadelphia. And Markelle Fultz, good luck to you. Carson Wentz, good luck to you. I hope you do well. I hope Ben Simmons, wherever he plays next, hopefully it's not Philadelphia next game, I hope he falls and breaks his leg getting off the plane.
I think Ben Simmons has a problem. I think Ben Simmons is just he's in his own little zone. I mean, he doesn't care.
He gets coddled. He gets coddled by his family. He gets coddled by his daddy, who was a professional basketball player. His mom, I believe, was a tennis player.
He's playing like he doesn't care, and that's alarming.
But no, not me. It's not. I'm an all-star. I made the all-star team 2 years in a row. It's not me. It's not me.
Right. Okay, he made the all-star team. Big deal.
By the way, have you seen the list? The list of.
Do the fans vote him in? I mean,
no, his peers and the coaches do, but that'll never happen again after the slop that I saw in this playoffs.
No, it won't.
Like Devin Booker didn't make the all. Like, look at the list of players. I had it on my computer earlier. Look at the list of players that didn't make the All-Star team, but that Ben Simmons did. Tobias Harris, Devin Booker, just to name two off the top of my head. Like, holy smokes! I mean, and this feeds into the coddling of Ben Simmons. But we're gonna take a break from the disaster that is the process, the disaster that is the Philadelphia 76ers. I do think Ben Simmons will get traded. I do trust Daryl Morey to make the Sixers better and hopefully into a real contender and not the fraud contender that I thought they were, that a lot of people thought they were, going into this year. Because there are trades I think that you can make for Ben that makes sense for both sides. It's good for Ben. It'll be good for the Sixers, and that'll be that. But we got a big hockey show tonight. We got a big hockey show, 8 o'clock, puck drop, which really means that puck will drop at about 8:20 with all the nonsense they do. The Cinderella story, Montreal Canadiens will be taking on the Goliath, the powerhouse, Tampa Bay Lightning.
The Stanley Cup champions from last year.
Defending Stanley Cup champions.
Right.
It's going to be a fun series.
Montreal is going to have their work cut out for them. But I'll tell you what this series kind of reminds me of, and I know I'm dating myself here, but if you were around to see the Devils against the Red Wings when the Devils won their first Stanley Cup, okay? This is
that was 98.
90, I think it was 95.
Okay.
It was 90, the first one when they swept Detroit, okay? Detroit was an overwhelming favorite. I mean, this was a team that had Steve Yzerman in his prime. They had Fedorov in his prime.
Brendan Shanahan.
I mean,
it's the same team that beat the Flyers in '97.
Yeah, I mean that was a fabulous team. They had everything. They had guys who defense, offense. They had killer fighters on their team. I mean, that was a tough team that could also score. I mean, your fourth line, you had Probert and Koser on the fourth line. How scary is that to have to go out there and play against those two guys? And Darren McCarty, no less. I mean, geez, it's scary to go out there and have to play. It was scary to have to go out there and play against those guys. And then you had guys they finally ended up getting Hasek in goal, and that was the end of that. They started winning cups. But, I mean, back then, nobody thought that the Devils had a chance against that team. But you know what? The Devils were a good defensive team that basically stymied them. And when they got chances to score, they cashed in every time. And then they after they won when they won the first two games in Detroit, coming back home, it was just like a foregone conclusion that they were going to win that series. I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking with the Canadiens. The Canadiens are a very good defensive team, but do you think they're better than the Islanders? Because I guess that's my question to you. Are they better than the Islanders? The Islanders gave Tampa Bay all they could handle.
Well, I like the Canadian. I do like the Canadiens in this series. And I understand I cannot make an argument that the Canadiens are a more talented hockey team than the Tampa Bay Lightning.
It's not always about talent, though.
I understand that. Yeah, I understand that.
Hockey is not like basketball where the more talented team usually wins. It's not like that. And in hockey, I'll take a team who has muscle and grit with a couple of goal scorers over a team that has a bunch of goal scorers and no grit. But Tampa Bay is almost almost the perfect team. That's what makes them so tough to play against. You know, you've got your first two lines are deadly offensive teams. Their third line is a good defensive line, and they can score a little bit. And their fourth line, they got guys like Maroon on the fourth line, who's as tough as nails. Barclay Gaudreau, who's as tough as nails. I mean, that's a tough team to play against. I mean, they are the model team right now. Does that mean they're going to win? No, not always, because we all know in hockey it's different. Harry Price is hot right now. He's red hot. I mean, the fact that they were able to beat a Vegas team, which definitely outgunned Montreal as far as who had more talent. I mean, they outshot them by a mile, but Montreal has 4 defensemen who are really Chris Pronger-like. They're top 4. And, I mean, that's what makes them so difficult right now to beat. You know, they're just shutting teams down. They shut down Toronto. I mean, Toronto had their opportunities, but really most of the goals they scored were tic-tac-toe goals. You know, they were perfect plays to score. That's the only way you can even score against the Canadiens. That's how good defensively they are.
And, I think
they didn't because of Sheffield. You know, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that seems to go on with that seems to go on. I mean,
there's the Phillies just blundering everything. That's going to be a 2-0 lead for the Reds. We'll talk about some baseball. We got some all-star games coming up. The trade deadline's looming. Brett, it's kind of crazy how time's flying. It's already almost the 4th of July is next Monday.
Yep.
So, I think this baseball season is flying by.
Yeah, I think this baseball season, as far as our two teams are concerned, are going to be a disastrous season.
I'm not ready to give up on the Phillies. I'm really not. And I know that's my MO to just totally roast teams when they suck, and the Phillies do suck right now. But I am not ready to give up.
It's just as bad this year as it was last year. They've got 20 blown saves already.
I can't. The only thing, Neris has finally been removed from the closer role. Maybe Alvarado can do better,
Alvarado, as far as the 8th inning was concerned, was pretty good.
See, now this is what I hate. This is what I don't understand with this new era of baseball. You have Spencer Howard. He gets in trouble in the 3rd. He gives up 2 runs, and you pull him out. I don't understand. This guy's been your top pitching prospect for years now. The second anything goes wrong, they pull him out. How's he supposed to learn? How's he supposed to learn how to overcome adversity? How's he supposed to learn how to pitch out of jams?
Joe doesn't trust him. The problem with Joe right now, and we're talking about Joey G, okay, is that right now he doesn't trust the starting pitching.
I don't blame him.
He still doesn't realize that he doesn't have the Yankee bullpen. Yeah, he's still thinking that he has the Yankee bullpen, and he doesn't have the Yankee bullpen, and that's a problem. That's a problem right now. And the Phillies bullpen right now, again, is still a disaster. I mean, it's the fact that they lost both those games that they lost against the Mets. They should have swept the Mets this weekend instead of winning 2 out of 4. I mean, they gave away 2 of those 4 games. You know, when you're trying to chase somebody, that's not the way to do it. And not to mention the Washington Nationals have suddenly decided it's time to play ball.
Yeah, I mean, and then, I feel like all they did was awaken a sleeping giant with all that pine tar nonsense with Max Scherzer, which I've seen. Sure, everyone's seen the highlights on SportsCenter where they were just checking Max Scherzer constantly for pine tar and foreign substances. And Max Scherzer, the guy's already a fireball. You don't need to give him extra motivation. But sure enough, the dopey Phillies did, and Max Scherzer has been on a tear absolutely ever since. And you're absolutely right. Washington Nationals have propelled themselves right into this National League East race. And guess what, Brad? Mike Rizzo down there, excellent GM. He's not going to sit on his hands.
Oh, no. I don't think the Mets will either, Rob. But, if you're comparing talent-wise the Mets and the Nationals have more talent.
I mean, the Mets just aren't healthy.
Well, that they're not going to get healthy either.
No.
I mean, Conforto is back, and he should be a big help. But they already got McNeil back. But I mean, even with all their guys, they don't have the talent that the Nationals have. Unless the Nationals start underachieving again, I mean, this is not a hard division for them. The Braves are completely.
I don't get the Braves.
Yeah, well, not having Soraka hurts, and now knowing that he's gone for the season.
Yeah, but Morton's been.
He hasn't been very good.
Morton?
Has he?
Yeah, he's been great.
He's been great. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm wrong. Okay.
Yeah, you have Morton and Anderson at the top. I can't believe they don't score more. I mean, you have Freddie Freeman, you have Acuna, you have Ozzie Albies. I understand Ozuna is out for both injury purposes and misbehavior purposes. Like, can we stop with this Ronald Torres? Like, Ronald Torres stinks. Like, this guy.
Oh, I remember Torres was with the Yankees.
Does this guy just, like, follow Joe G around? Does he have naked pictures of Joe G somewhere where he, like, manipulates himself into playing time?
He's not a guy that can play regularly. He's a real nice fill-in kind of player. He's a utility player. I mean, he's real good at second. He's real good at third, but you start playing him at shortstop.
Every day.
Yeah, that's not his position. He has his pluses. He can hit a little bit, and he can run like the wind. But again, he's a bench player. I mean, I remember when he was with the Yankees. He used to hit around 270, 280, but that was coming off the bench.
Right. You give him extended time.
Yeah, and that's
and like I hate making fun of him because he is being asked to do like more than he's capable of doing by this Phillies team. But like, I mean, look, I don't know. There's so many like this lineup every day. I mean, Bryce Harper did play tonight, so it looks a little better. But like, when you got to put JT in the 2-hole. And McCutchen can't hit leadoff. He's washed up. And you have Travis Jankowski and Torres and Gene Segura's hurt. So, like, that's a total mystery as well. Herrera. Actually, I apologize. Herrera's been hitting leadoff and it's been okay. But, like, I don't know. It's just – but the thing is, like, I trust Dave Dombrowski. But I don't know if he has, like, what it takes to – do anything in season.
The problem is the Phillies farm system right now. All your top prospects, from what I've heard and read, are in able. They're not, guys that can step right up and be stars.
Yeah, and they all stink.
Now. And that's a tough way to deal with it. So I mean, listen, Torres, if used properly, is really a valuable player. I mean, he can run like the wind. He'll steal you a base. He's an excellent bunter. I mean, he's a real solid utility player. But his positions are second base and third base. He's not a shortstop. I mean, when you put him at shortstop, he doesn't have the arm to throw out guys in the hole. I mean, that's how I remember him as a Yankee. And it's a problem. He's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. He can't. He doesn't have the ability to do that. You're asking an awful lot from that guy.
Like, I mean, all I hear about, we didn't have to spend that much money on Didi Gregorius. We have Bryson Scott. He's going to be like, okay, well, Didi's hurt. Like, where is this guy? If he's so great, we have Ronald Torres in over him. He can't be that good.
He's not. Obviously, he's not playing well enough that they feel he's ready to come up yet. I mean, that's got to be it, right? I mean, why else?
Like, Bryson Scott's 23. He's in Double-A. Where is he? Francisco Morales, their number three prospect, according to MLB Pipeline. He's 21 years old. He's in Double-A. 6'4", 185. Where is he? You're telling me he can't help this rotation? Rafael Marchand, who I actually like, he's 22 years old. He just got sent down to Triple-A. Luis Garcia. Then you have 5 through 10. I'm sorry. 5 through 7, but they're all at A-ball. Casey Martin's their 6th ranked prospect. He's 22 years old. He's still at high A-ball. So, like, he's not anything. Like, Simon.
Not yet. But, I mean, listen, Rob, you got to give these guys a chance. Remember, there was no minor league season last year. So it's a little hard on those kids, really. I mean, that's a problem for them right now. Is that you don't really know where these guys are trying to make a name for themselves, and they're going to get promoted and demoted based on how good they are this year. But to get a guy from playing A ball to the major leagues is a push. That's a lot. That's asking an awful lot. Double A to the majors is not that big of a jump, but A ball to the majors is a huge jump. Even if it's high A, it's still a big jump.
But I get that, but these guys they have no pedigree. They got no buzz around them. You can't even trade them for anything. And what do you I don't know. They're just in a rock and a hard place right now. And the Yankees, at least the Phillies, have a glimmer of hope, Brad, because the NL East, it's kind of still up in the air.
Yeah.
Whereas the AL East with your Yankees, Boston's good, Toronto's good, Tampa's good. So, Yankees are staring at fourth place.
Yankees are in fourth place right now.
Yeah, but, they're staring at – it's not looking they're going anywhere from fourth
place.
They're
not. Listen, unless they're able to make some big changes with this team. If this team continues to have the same lineup put out there every day with the same pitching staff, they're not going anywhere. They strike out too much. They hit into too many double plays. There are a bunch of bangy fools when it comes to running the bases. I've never seen a team so bad running the bases. Do you watch
the Phillies every night, Brad?
Rob, the Yankees have had more guys thrown out on base.
I rate the Phillies. It was just not 30 minutes before we went out of the air. Andrew McCutchen is on third. It's a ground ball. He's dicking around, not paying attention, and then he tries to go home when he's not being decisive, and he's out by 50 feet. So it happened just a half hour ago. If you're gonna bust it to home, go. Give yourself a chance to be safe. He's just a dead duck because he's being passive aggressive. More is lost in life, in sports, in anything you do with indecision than a wrong decision. It's a motto. It's a motto I live by, and it should be preached.
I agree with you about that.
Running the bases.
That is true.
But anyway, go ahead, because there's got to be serious ramifications in Yankee land if the Yankees finish in fourth place.
Right now, here's the problem: there's no ramifications. Okay, and that's the problem. Cheap Hal Steinbrenner has done nothing. He hasn't even said anything to the fans. He hasn't come out and said, I'm very disappointed in this team. Hopefully, we're going to make some changes. He hasn't said anything. He's hidden his head in the dirt like an ostrich. Okay. Brian Cashman, who, by the way, is the most overrated GM in the history of baseball. If you look at his record the last 3 years of moves he's made, okay, please tell me, other than Luke Voigt and Gio Urshela, please tell me what he's done. And don't give me Garrett Cole, okay?
Anybody could do.
Anybody could sign somebody to a $350 million contract, okay? That doesn't take a lot of skill to do that. Okay, he wanted to be here, and if the money was right, he was coming. Okay, so I'm not gonna accept that. You give me one good trade he's made, one good move he's made in the last 4 years.
Well, I think because Luke Voigt and Gio Urshela, those were great gets because you get them for peanuts, and they're actually really good players. But as far as in-season moves go,
season moves, Rob, you take a look, okay. And I'm gonna start with
but you say exclude Gio Urshela and Luke Voigt. That's not even fair because I have jackasses in Philadelphia who can't even do that. All they've done is sign Bryce Harper to a $330 million contract, who just scored from first after hitting a single on a double by Alec Boehm. So the Phillies are down 2-1 in Cincinnati.
Okay, I can give you a few really stupid moves that he's made. Okay. How about signing Luis Severino to a 4-year, $40 million contract?
Not really fair.
Throws out his arm.
Not really. Do you think Brian Cashman would have given him that contract if? Now I am gonna defend Brian Cashman here because he's never had a losing season as his general manager. And
with a $200 million payroll, you should.
Still, that's still impressive. He's been the GM there for 25 years.
Yeah, but he's lost his edge. He hasn't done anything in 4 years. Okay, Aaron Hicks.
Oh my God, 4 whole years. Jeez, oh man. Oh my God, the Yankees haven't won in 4 years. Jeez, oh man.
Wow. Aaron Hicks, 10 years, $70 million.
That's awful. I'll give you that. That's awful.
Are you kidding? Jacoby Ellsbury.
That was bad.
$156 million.
That never works out when in that rivalry. Whenever the Red Sox try and go to New York, whenever the Yankees try to go to Boston, like it doesn't work. They should just stop doing it.
I'm going to give you 2 this year. Okay, trading Amalie Arena because he was making too much money. I don't have a problem with that. But trading him to the Red Sox, the Red Sox who had no bullpen, what kind of stupidity is that? Then you trade. Then you go ahead and you trade, and you let this guy Garrett Whitlock, who was a minor league player of ours, go to the Red Sox for a Rule 5. Are you going to tell me that Chaim Bloom knows our farm system better than Brian Cashman? Are you kidding me? How the hell do you let that happen? And then for your free agent pickups, we're picking up Corey Kluber, who was injured for the last 2 years. Okay. And lasted a month before he's injured now, and he probably won't be back till at least August. You bring back Domingo Germán after being suspended for a season, okay? And you bring in this clown Jamison Tyon, who can't get anybody out and can't pitch more than 5 innings, okay? And you give up 4 minor leaguers. I mean, what kind of stupidity is that?
It's bad.
He's terrible. And meanwhile, you have a short porch in right field. And this clown brings in right-handed hitter after right-handed hitter after right-handed hitter. I mean, you should have lefties on this team. Don't give me this analytics bullshit that left-hand hitters don't work. It's Yankee Stadium. It's 314 feet to right field. Get left-handed hitters on this team. But no, we have an entirely right-handed hitting lineup. And the only good left-handed hitter we had, we let go, and that was Didi Gregorius. And unfortunately, we all overrated Gleyber Torres, who was a product of the live ball a couple of years ago. Because obviously something's up with him. He didn't hit it all last year, and he stinks again this year. You know, I don't get it. I don't get it. But I mean, this continues to be allowed to happen. I mean, I can keep going on. I mean, Giancarlo Stanton, you pick up a guy who makes $29 million. Didn't you do any research to see that the guy's always getting injured? I mean, this guy is 29 years old, and he can't get out of the field to play in the field. He's got to be your DH, so you can't even rest guys. Because if you rest guys, then you're taking him out of the lineup.
All right, each and every week, the Sports Hounds here on A2D Radio are brought to you by our doc, make them yours too, Dr. Paul Vidal, specialized physical therapy, 2 convenient locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill. He's our doc, make them yours too. Also brought to you by Body Check Wellness, a line of products that promote the wellness, balance, and recovery by using the full potentials of hemp. They come in extracts, blends, gummies, and topicals. Use promo code A2D for 25% off your order. That brings us to our poll question, which is brought to you by the Sunrise Detox Center. Many of us in our families deal with mental health and addiction issues. We are happy to support the Counseling Center at Sunrise Detox. If you need mental health therapy or addiction detox, call 856-651-8117 and tell them Tom Arnone sent you. Tell them A2D Radio sent you. Tell them the Sports Hound sent you. Don't forget to hit that like, follow, subscribe button. Don't miss anything here on A2D Radio. That brings us to our poll question. We're going to circle back to hockey. The Stanley Cup. It's such an interesting year in hockey for so many reasons. The poll question is the Montreal Canadiens will upset the Tampa Bay Lightning in Game 1. We'll give you a series pick before puck drop, which is scheduled for 8 o'clock. It's 7:44 East Coast time right now. It probably won't start till 8:15, 8:20. But, Brad, what do you see tonight?
I can see the Canadiens winning Game 1. I don't see the series going the distance, though. I do like Tampa Bay in 6, but tonight I could see Tampa Bay losing Game 1 after a very, very difficult series with the Islanders. I mean, emotionally and just emotionally, they. I mean, I know they had a couple of days to recover, but emotionally, that was a very emotionally draining series. May have taken a little bit out of them. I think they're going to be a little surprised to see just how good the Canadiens are defensively. And I'll tell you what, Tampa Bay better watch themselves because you better not let the Canadiens score first. Because if they score first, they can shut down anybody. You know, and that goes for Carey Price, who's playing at an extremely high level right now. However, overall, Tampa Bay just has too many weapons. You know, and they're basically the perfect team. If you look at them, the first two lines are just awesome offensive lines. The third line is an outstanding defensive line that can also score. And then the fourth line is bangers. And, you know, these are guys who are not guys who just show up and try to beat people up. They can play. They can play defensively. You can put them out there against the other team's top line and stop them as they did tonight. I mean, in Game 7 and in Game 6. I mean, they're just the whole team has solid players. I mean, Victor Hedman. I mean, how big a trade was that Ranger trade when they sent McDonough over to Tampa Bay a few years ago? I mean, McDonough is basically Victor Hedman's defensive defenseman. So he can go up and he can play offense. And you've got a guy who's almost an all-star right now. I mean, he's not as good as he used to be, obviously, but he's almost an all-star. And you know, this is the guy that plays defense for you while Hedman's out there in the offensive zone. And McDonough can contribute offensively as well. And if you took a look at the way they played defensively against the Islanders, I mean, when they got that 1-0 lead, those guys were getting back and just playing unbelievably stifling defense. I think the Islanders only had, till the middle of the third period, then they finally started putting some pressure on. But I think they only had like 14 shots going into the middle of the third period. That's how great a job Tampa Bay did defensively, blocking shots and just closing off the middle. I mean, they're really a good team. I can see Montreal sneaking in and winning Game 1, though. I can definitely see that.
So you kind of like Montreal tonight, but you think Tampa Bay?
I just think overall, Tampa Bay is the complete package. Okay, they can win a shootout. They can win a low-scoring game. I mean, they've really got all the tools to just be an awesome hockey team, and you know they've done that. They've done that pretty much throughout the season. I mean, they've been getting better as the season's gone along, and you know, thankfully, Kucherov, who was again the victim of another cheap shot by Scott Mayfield, as the Islanders do what they did best, and that's injure the other team's top players. Tried to take him out, but unfortunately for them, he came back and played in Game 7. But yeah, and this is something, by the way, the Islanders did. They did it to Brandon Carlo in the Boston series. I mean, this is what they do. They're a big, tough team. They hit guys really hard, extra hard, and put them down and injure them. And they almost were able to get away with it with Tampa Bay. I mean, Barzell got away with cross-checking somebody in the I can't remember who the player was, but he cross-checked somebody in the knee, and he didn't even get suspended for it. He got a $5,000 fine. Big deal. I mean, to him, that's like a quarter to him with the money he makes now. So, I mean, Tampa Bay was able to get through that series. As I said, though, I don't know that they're going to be completely amped up for Game 1 of the finals. I think it's going to be hard for them to get back to that level. It may take a game for them to really get their to get themselves pumped. It may also take a game for them to adjust to the style Montreal plays. Because Montreal really basically kind of plays a trap. And their defense is very physical, and they got a real good goalie. They got a couple of guys who can score. I mean, Toffoli, what a move that was from Los Angeles. I mean, that was probably one of the better free agent signings. I mean, I wanted the Rangers to get him, and they didn't get him. But he definitely made a big difference. Cole Caulfield is playing. Didn't have much of a regular season, but he's playing like he's been in the league for 10 years in the playoffs. So they're going to be tough. I mean, they've got a lot of antagonizing players that are annoying, that can score. And they'll give Tampa Bay a run for their money, but I just don't think they're good enough to beat Tampa Bay. So I like Tampa in 6.
I'm going to take Montreal in 6 here. Couple of reasons. Hot goalie. I understand Vasilevsky for Tampa is one of the best in the biz. He's really good. He's got great defense in front of him, and they obviously score a lot of goals for him. But I mean, Carey Price is just playing unbelievable right now. I mean, Brad, they went through Vegas, who we've talked about all season as
they killed him,
a really premier hockey team. Montreal went through them like a hot knife through butter.
They only had one power play goal in 6 games. Vegas. If you think about that, that team has a very good power play. But the difference between Vegas's power play and Tampa Bay's power play is the reason why I think Tampa Bay is going to win the series. You can't if you get shorthanded against Tampa Bay 22 times, okay, because they were 1 for 22 in that series. And I'm talking about Tampa Bay against Montreal on the power play. If you give them 22 power plays, they're going to score 5 or 6 goals. I can pretty much guarantee it. Huh?
At least.
Yeah, I mean they're just they have the kind of talent. If you guys give those monsters like Stamkos and Kucherov and Point, you let those guys and Hedman, you let those guys out there on a power play for 22 times, they're going to get you. I mean, I don't care who's in goal. They are going to get you. They're that good.
So Montreal's a hot goalie. This is what
he is.
And I would say to that, Brad, if Montreal only lets up 5 power play goals and 22 chances against a power play like Tampa Bay, I would say that's a successful like penalty kill effort.
That would, I mean, 5 for 22 is what 20 is 20. It's like 23%. That's a big difference from 1 for 22.
I understand that, but I don't understand how, like, if I was a hockey coach or like a fan. I mean, I am I'm a Flyers fan. I wouldn't say I'm a adept as I am the other sports on the rest of the league, but I watched pretty much all of the Tampa Bay Islanders series, and the games start at 7, 8. Some of the West Coast games, I kind of nod off, and I don't really know what's going on.
Very understandable. I do the same thing. I mean,
like, if I'm looking at my team and like you have 22 power play chances and you only get 5 goals, how is that not considered like an epic fail? Like, the other team only has 4 guys.
In the NHL, okay, 20% or better on the power play is considered very good.
That sounds terrible to me.
25, it may seem that way. 25% is considered. 25% and over is elite. So if they go 5 for 20 on the power play, that would not be a good thing. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's look, it's. I think it's going to be a pretty long series. But again, it's the key to this series is, can Montreal take advantage on their power play and keep Tampa Bay from just blasting games open on their power play? If they keep that, if the special teams balance each other out, they have a very good chance to win the series. But that's going to have to happen, and I just don't know. It's asking a lot.
So we got a hot goalie in Carey Price, even though Vasilevsky is pretty good. I give the Montreal Canadiens the leg up in the goalie matchup.
It's
even though
close,
they're both very good. I'll take Carey Price with the way he's playing. So, number 2, Las Vegas. Not the Las Vegas Golden Knights, but the line in Vegas. Brad, I was looking at this morning. Montreal was a plus 240 underdog to win the series.
That's low.
We're
getting higher.
We're getting closer to puck drop time in game 1. It's dropped to plus 200. So the money, something's going on where this line is getting smaller.
Well, people in Montreal are, Montreal Canadian fans are. Look, Rob, there's a lot more Montreal Canadian fans.
Is that? So you're saying their fan base is enough? They're getting enough public attention to move the line that much in an 8-hour period? I don't know if I'm buying that.
Montreal is a legendary franchise.
I understand that. Original 6, they won a whole bunch of Stanley Cups. I get it.
Yeah, and they also their fan base. They have a lot of fans in the United States. Montreal. I mean, they just do. I mean, there's a lot of people who were fair weather fans. People who like grew up during when I was a kid. I mean, I knew a lot of people who were Canadian fans.
Yeah, it's a Cowboy
They
fan.
were always winning. Yeah, it exactly is. That's the whole point. I mean, Toronto wants to make like their Canada's team and their America's team and all that. They're not. The Canadians are Canada's team. Okay, and don't let anybody kid you. They have all the Stanley Cups. They haven't had one in a while. Okay, but I mean that's not necessarily their fault. It's tough to win in Canada because of the way the contracts are and the money situation and the taxes and everything. It costs a lot more money for Montreal to put out a team than it would a team like Tampa, where there's no state income tax. I mean that's a factor.
Here we go. Your income tax and your
I mean that's
Fox business correspondent Brad Ryer with
it's a factor
tax update of the day.
It's
I hear you, but I still think you make too much of that. But whatever.
Well, yeah. Well, bottom line is though, as far as fan bases are concerned, there's a lot more. There's a lot
but
more.
Brad, generally speaking,
fans.
A line shrinkage late tends to be sharp money on the dog.
Oh yeah, no, I get that.
If it was public money early, they would be on the. I feel like they'd be on the Lightning, and the line would grow.
Well, I think the Lightning fans made all their bets, and I think Montreal. A lot of people who think Montreal can pull it off, and they might. Listen, it's not impossible. Again, I go back to the Devils in Detroit in 1995. I mean, it was a similar situation. The Devils were significant underdogs, and they didn't have the star power that the Red Wings had. But you know what? They played better defense, and they banged them, and they wore them out, and they couldn't. They fell apart every game in the third period. And you know what? Maybe the Canadiens can do that.
And that's my third point. So we got the hot goalie with Carey Price. We got Vegas. Vegas indicating to me that the Montreal Canadiens are primed for an upset, both tonight and in the series. But, I mean, I also look at history. That Tampa Bay Islanders series, it reminded me a lot of 1997. Remember 1997, Brad, in the Eastern Conference semifinals, your Rangers and the Devils, they kicked the shit out of each other. I think that. Oh, yeah. I think the Rangers won in
Philly. And
the Rangers had the win in 7, and the Devils and the Rangers, they just totally kicked the shit. A different era of hockey, much more physical, but they kicked the shit out of each other. They didn't like each other. They were both loaded teams. The Devils were the Devils. I don't think the Rangers had Gretzky yet in 97.
No, that was the first year they had Gretzky.
They had Gretzky, so they had Gretzky. I believe they still had Messier. They had Brian Leetch. They had Richter in net. The Devils had Scott Stevens, Niedermeyer, Brodeur. I mean, they just kicked the shit out of each other. And then you had the Flyers came in. The Flyers were kind of in the right place at the right time, and were able to go to the Stanley Cup Finals and eventually get swept by just a much better.
I think the Flyers beat them. I think the Flyers beat them in 5 that year.
It was the Rangers were spent. They were absolutely spent.
Yeah, they beat them in 5. The Rangers won. I think the first game, and then the Flyers beat them the next 4.
And the Flyers, they had a pretty good team. They had Lindros and LeClaire, and they had some
a very good team. They had a very good team. I mean, no question. The Flyers were a good team. I mean, they weren't as good as Detroit. That's all. I mean, at that point, Detroit finally figured it out, and they won the cup. I mean, and then when they got Hasek, that was basically it. After that, they were.
When did they get Hasek?
Huh?
When did they get Hasek?
No, wait a minute. They didn't get Hasek until after 99. They got him in 2000. I'm wrong. They had who did they have back then? I'm trying to remember.
Did they have Curtis Joseph? No, they got Curtis Joseph later too.
Cujo was
because they got him as a free agent. Because I remember I lost my mind. Because remember the Flyers? They signed John Van Beesbrook instead of going after Curtis Joseph, who I just was a huge fan of, and I didn't understand it at all.
Hasek didn't come to Detroit till 2000, so I'm wrong about that. Because I remember Hasek was in Buffalo in '99 when Buffalo lost to the Dallas Stars in the finals.
Yeah, when the dopey refs, they remember how every goal went upstairs in case if you had your toenail in the crease, like it didn't count. And then Brett Hull, all of a sudden, Brett Hull in Game 6, his whole skates in the crease and it counts.
Yeah, well, I mean it should have counted anyway, but that season the way they were calling everything, it shouldn't have counted. But yeah, it was Osgood. Good job, Kyle Elliott.
Yes, Chris Osgood. Thank you.
It was Osgood, but the difference between Osgood and Dominic Hasek is miles apart. But I think the Canadiens are gonna. I do think the Canadiens are gonna win Game 1, though.
But that's my point. Like I think the Canadiens are got a battle worn Tampa Bay team, and I think Tampa Bay is primed for an upset. It's also very hard to go back to back, Brad. It's also very hard to go back to back.
Absolutely. Listen, Tampa Bay has played some real tough series. I mean, I know they beat Carolina in 5, but Carolina, all those games were close, and Carolina is a very physical team as well, and they beat them up, and the Islanders just beat the crap out of them for 7 games. I mean, that could happen. They played a lot of hockey towards the end of the year last year. I mean, they played throughout the whole month of August, and then they start the season in January. I mean, they did play a lot of hockey. It's no question about that. But we'll see. I mean, I just think that Tampa Bay has too much talent, and somehow they're going to figure it. They're going to figure it out.
All right, let's get to some comments here. Tommy Arnone's in the house. Ralphie's in the house. Ben Simmons is staying. God, I hope not, but something tells me that he's going to be here, even though I don't see how you can justify it to your locker room that he can be here. Now, Danny Green, trusted veteran, winner in this league, is saying the coaches kind of got to be tougher on him, so nothing's good. Brian Wilson's in the house. Must process. When do you think this will happen, though? 2 weeks. I'm assuming he's talking about a Sixers trade. Ben Simmons trade with the Sixers? No.
That's going to take a while because what the Sixers are going to have to do is they're going to have to try to do kind of like what I'm going to give you.
It's got to happen before the draft, though, Brad. NBA offseason happens quick.
I know
it's the finals. It's the draft, and then it's free agency.
But they're gonna want to create a market, kind of like what's going on with the Buffalo Sabres with Jack Eichel. You know how they're trying to create a market right now so they can trade him. If the Sixers are smart, and I think they are pretty smart, by the way.
Yeah, Morey's very.
I think
smart.
they're going to try to. I think they're going to try to create a market so they can get teams to bid against each other because somebody's going to think they can fix Ben Simmons.
Correct.
And he'll end up getting traded. But I don't think you guys are going to get quite as much as some. I don't think you're going to get exactly what you think you're going to get for him. No, I mean, I know you want to get
Damian Lillard is not. Well, it sounds like Dame Lillard might be forcing his way out of Portland. So if that,
I haven't heard. Listen,
Portland,
have we actually heard him say, "I don't want to play here anymore"?
No.
Okay. Well, until we hear that, you have to assume that he might be willing to stay.
But Brad, what do I always say about these situations in all sports?
Well,
the longer you wait, and this applies if Dame Lillard really wants out there, and Ben Simmons in Philadelphia, and Zion Williamson down in New Orleans, and Porzingis in Dallas, all these guys, the longer these teams wait to trade these good players, the less they're going to get.
That's true.
Unless they all get traded for each other, which
that could happen.
So
that could happen too. I mean, yeah. Okay.
I keep an eye on draft night. I mean, if he's still here after draft night, I'd be shocked if he's moved.
Now, here's a question for you, Rob, because I don't know the answer to this. Now, I was talking on Facebook to a couple of people, okay, who are with A to D, some fans who I talk to quite often, actually. And one had mentioned that you can't trade somebody unless you take back at least 80% salary.
Yeah, NBA has the money has to work.
Okay, so you can't just load up a bunch of draft picks and a couple of young players. You have to make sure the money works, which is
right. That's why that's why you see bums get attached to the
right, and then they get waived. That's why they make these trades, and then they immediately waive these guys after the. Okay, I get it. Okay, that explains. Okay, Because I've been talking about the Knicks, but you know what? I don't know that the Knicks have anybody that they could send over there really to match salaries. That's
For who? Ben?
No, for Lillard.
Oh. I mean, that works. That would work. I mean,
they've got.
I think the Knicks are going to land Zion.
Yeah, but maybe not this year though.
I don't know.
He wants to play. He's made it very clear he wants to play in New York, and I know his father.
I think his family and his people around them want him in New York, or Boston, or somewhere.
Yeah, they keep mentioning New York. If he played in New York, he'd make so much money off the court. He'd be like he'd be a money-making machine in New York. I think that's why they want him to go to New York.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, the New York Knicks still have picks coming to them.
The Knicks have the 19th pick, the 21st pick, and the 32nd pick in the draft.
Because of the Kristaps Porzingis trade.
Right. Their pick is number 19. Dallas's pick is 21. And they made a trade with Detroit. And they got the 32nd, and they got Detroit's second-round pick. But since Detroit got the number 1 pick, that means the Knicks have the number 1 pick in the second round. So,
right.
And that's actually, a lot of people consider that like really a first-round pick. So,
especially since the way it works with these Euro stashes. Guys get picked in the first round so you can stash them longer, and it's games. So, good college guys that were productive in college are there. In the second.
Yeah, I think this is. I don't think this is necessarily a lot of superstars in this draft.
But it's not a very good draft. I was looking at it the other. It's not really not that great of a draft.
It's not that kind of a draft. But I think there are a lot of very good, useful players in this draft.
I mean, obviously, like Cade Cunningham's at the top.
Right. From what I've heard, though, after number 8, from what I've read. I heard it drops significantly.
Honestly, Brad, I watch a lot of college basketball,
right?
And I don't even know if we can go that far. Obviously, guys are going to emerge and be really good players that maybe we're not expecting. But I mean, this is not the draft to have essentially three first-round picks.
Right. No, I get that.
And I don't think that.
At the same point, though, it's hard to tell. I mean, really, sometimes you got to draft guys just by pedigree at the school they went to. If the coaches give you, they all these coaches in college and the NBA, they all know each other. They'll talk to the coaches. The coaches will talk and they'll hype their players. And that's kind of why the Knicks ended up with Emmanuel quickly. I believe that the Kentucky coach, Calipari gave him high marks, and they thought that he could play in New York, and the Knicks picked him, and they got very lucky with him. But
the Knicks and the Sixers, Brad, they got lucky with Tyrese Maxey and Emmanuel quickly because there wasn't an NBA NCAA tournament, and with those two in your backcourt, the defense and offense they provide, Kentucky probably would have went on a run and would have propelled their.
It's hard though this year, Rob, because there wasn't, you didn't have the NBA tournament, so you really don't know who. It's hard because we didn't get a lot of information as fans. When there's a tournament, usually a few guys who maybe weren't the greatest players during the season emerge and step up their game a little bit, and we didn't get to see that. So, we'll see.
I'm looking at this mock draft right now. And we got about 15 minutes till puck drop, and we'll get it. The Phillies are on. It's 2-2 against the Reds. I know the Yankees are playing right now as well.
That's
so we're gonna be all hockey all the rest of the night once this game gets underway, because I think it's going to be a really interesting series. But I'm looking at this mock draft. The Pistons are picking first. Cade Cunningham. That's obvious. That's a no-brainer pick. He's going to be a stud. Then you got the second picks, the Rockets. I don't know how you don't pick Jalen Suggs out of Gonzaga. He's going to be a good player. Then you got Evan Mobley. What's that?
Was he the center?
No, Jalen. So he's the point guard for Gonzaga. He hit that shot against UCLA.
Okay. Gotcha.
Evan Mobley's a center out of USC. I don't trust him at all. Jalen Green, he went to go play overseas. I don't know much about him. Jonathan Kumenga is from the Congo. I don't know much about it. Not that Jalen Green and Kumenga are going to be bad players. I just have no idea. I don't know what kind of competition they played over there. I worry about guys who can't make the GPA, the basic GPA for college basketball, so they have to go overseas. Because that's the only reason you go overseas.
Yeah, no, I get that, but you know,
you go get some money because you can't get the notoriety of playing big time college
basketball is a really a thinking man's game.
Like Scotty Barnes, I'm seeing Scotty Barnes, the 6th pick. I mean, I like Florida State, what Leonard Hamilton does with that program a lot, but I don't see a guy like Scotty Barnes being the 6th pick in the draft. Davion Mitchell, really good shooter, point guard out of Baylor, 7th pick in the draft. No. James Bouknight, a top 10 pick out of Connecticut. No, you can't.
I've heard a lot of good things about that guy, by the way.
Bouknight, okay. Brad, he can't shoot.
Oh, okay. So he
can't shoot. He's a great
right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get a lengthy athlete. You're going to get a guy who can get to the rack. He's going to be able to defend, but when it comes to making perimeter shots, like he's relegated to bench duty. He's a role player.
So
I think
like
Matisse.
So he's like Ntilikina then. We don't need another.
No, I think he's better than Ntilikina. I think a pretty good comparison, NBA comparison for James Bouknight is actually Matisse Thybulle, who plays here in Philadelphia. And just to give you perspective, I know, but Matisse Thybulle went 22nd in the draft, not 8th.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah.
So that's just kind of where I'm going with that. Trey Mann out of Florida. I mean, he's a sharpshooter, but, I mean, I don't see him. He's a top 10 pick. Sorry. Franz Wagner out of Michigan. We've had Phil Martelli on in the past, and he said how good he is. But, I mean, like, potential top 10 pick in the draft. I mean, I don't know. Kai Jones out of Texas. He excites me, but he's a total project. Like Zaire Williams out of Stanford. No. Jalen Johnson out of Duke. I don't get it. Cameron Thomas, I think he's going way too late according to these mock drafts. He's out of LSU. He was a freshman. He averaged 20 points a game in the SEC. So at least he can, has good size and athleticism and can get to the rack and shoot the ball a little bit. Like I don't know.
What about some of these? What about some of these guys on the Zags and some of these guys on Baylor?
I mean, Davion Mitchell I talked about. I mean, Jared Butler, he's from Baylor. He's a point guard. It's okay. Ayo Desamonso.
I've heard his name mentioned as well in New York. Honestly, I think if you're the Knicks, or even for that matter, if you're the Sixers, if you trade Ben, why not try to get Ball for him? Why don't you try to do a trade with to get the rights for Ball at New Orleans?
Oh, Lonzo Ball. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm in.
I know he's an RFA, and I get that, but I mean, the Sixers. If the Sixers,
that's
really
fine. But Lonzo Ball, I mean, you trade for him, you extend him. His extension is not going to be $37 million
a year.
No.
What do you think
for Lonzo Ball?
Yeah, what do you think he's going to get? I mean, is he a max? He's not a max player yet.
No, he can't play. See, because he
shot 41% this year and 37% from three. So I mean, he's a really
well. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Maybe he will get more. Everyone gets overpaid in the NBA anyway, so you might have something there.
Yeah, I mean,
like Ben Simmons shoots 0% from 2. He shoots 0% from 3 because he won't shoot the fucking basketball. Lonzo Ball may be flawed.
But where's New Orleans going? Where's New Orleans going with this? If somebody offers him a poison pill contract that New Orleans can't pay, I mean, what are they going to do about it?
Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, what are they going to let him go for nothing? I mean, I have a feeling New Orleans is going to trade him. I just do, because that makes sense to me. I mean, if you take a look at some of the teams that need a point guard, between the Knicks and Philly,
Boston needs a point guard.
Boston, yeah. I mean, all these teams are pretty aggressive teams, and they all want to be aggressive this off season. I mean, the Sixers certainly have the goods to make a trade to make that happen. And you know what? Maybe New Orleans might do something like that because you know what? They're not Philly. He can play in the shadows of Zion Williamson for the time being until his father pushes him out of there. But he can go down there and play for a while and, be in relative anonymity and improve his game, and hopefully he'll have the desire to work on his game and be a better player. I mean, for his sake. But that would be something that if I was Philly, that'd be something I think that would be better than trying to spend all your players to try to get a guy like Lillard. I just don't see the need to be trading your entire team for Lillard.
Look, I don't care. I don't like diminished return, full value. Ben Simmons cannot be on the Sixers opening night next year.
That would be a reasonable trade for the Sixers.
It can't happen. I don't care if you have to take a bunch of picks for him and bad contracts, so you can maybe go down next year. That you just can't have for PR locker room standpoint. You can't have them.
No, I get it. I mean,
Peter Evans is in the house. He's got the Habs winning the cup. Coming out on the ice right now. Puck drop is imminent. Should be a great Stanley Cup. I got Montreal in 6. Sounds like Brad, you got Tampa in 6.
6, yes. We both agree on the 6 games. That we seem to agree on. Johnny
Peel, Philadelphia is a city. As a city is ass. Pittsburgh sports, and the city is 100 times better. I totally disagree with that. Wawa pounds Sheets into submission when it comes to convenience stores. Sheets is terrible. Wawa is awesome.
I agree with that. Agree with that. And Pittsburgh fans are some of the most obnoxious fans I've ever met.
Well, I can't even hate on Sidney Crosby anymore. Like, I used to hate him, but, I can't, he's exactly what you want for your hockey team.
Yeah,
just
he's won 3 Stanley Cups. I mean, you can't – there's not too much negative you can really say about him. I mean,
the Steelers, there's no love lost there. They don't even have – the Pirates are always bad. And, what am I missing? Oh, yeah, they don't even have a basketball team, so –
no, they don't really like basketball in Pittsburgh. The ABA, they had the Pittsburgh Condors, and they didn't last very long. I think they were there for 2 years. I think did Wilt go to them?
I can't recall that.
Somebody really, really good went there for a couple of years. I just can't for the life of me remember who it was. I thought Wilt went there for a couple of years after he retired from the NBA, but I just don't remember.
We here at A2D Radio are introducing A2D memberships for $9.99 a month. You can get some amazing perks, including shout-outs, members-only shows, appearances, and weekly picks from the Money Pot podcast, which now airs every Sunday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. To get back to it here, Chrome's in the house. He disagrees with the poll, so Chrome likes the Lightning. Roska's in the house. Montreal Canadiens win tonight. Montreal in 6. Roska representing the West Coast. He likes the Montreal Canadiens. I like the Canadiens too. Hot goalie. The line is screaming Montreal. And I don't know. We'll see how much Tampa Bay has left after tangling with a very tough New York Islanders team for 7 whole games.
And very physical Islanders.
Whereas the Montreal Canadiens, they've been resting, and because they went through a pretty good hockey team in the Vegas Golden Knights, like a hot knife through butter.
Yep, they sliced them and diced them. They only played 4 games against Winnipeg. They took care of them very quickly, and of course they had the miracle win against Toronto. And I'll tell you what, you got to give Montreal a lot of credit for the fact that after beating their biggest rival, their most hated rival, the Montreal Canadiens, for them to come back And I know Sheffield got suspended, but still, they went and swept Winnipeg. That's impressive. I mean, it's still impressive because that was emotionally for them to win a series like that would be equivalent to the Flyers beating the Rangers or the Flyers beating the Islanders or the Penguins in a 7-game series. That's what it would be the equivalent of. Because I mean, those two teams have hated each other since the beginning of hockey. I mean, that's how long those two teams have hated each other. So for them to go out and beat them, and that had to take a little steam out of them, but it didn't. They just continued, and they're getting better and better as these playoffs go. But they're going to need to really, really be on top of their game to beat this Tampa Bay team. This Tampa Bay team is loaded.
Bryce Blackwell, another one of our favorites here on the Sports Hounds. What's up, Bryce? Thanks for tuning in, checking in on YouTube. Knows a lot about hockey, loves hockey. He likes Montreal in 7. Defense will be the difference, he says. So he's under the offense wins games, defense wins championships. So Bryce thinks Montreal.
He's right.
Better defense. So Montreal is going to take the cake. Doing the national anthems right now.
The only question is, will Carey Price revert to regular season Carey Price and show a little weakness and give up a couple of bad goals? That's the only.
I don't buy that.
It's
Brad, it's like the crumbs in 2017 with the Eagles that were saying, "Oh, well, you still got stuff to clean up." Like every game's over by the first quarter. What else do you want? I mean, well, how can they really maintain this pressure and these turnovers? Like, yes, it's happened the whole playoffs. Why wouldn't I think it's going to continue right now?
Absolutely, but there is. But let's be honest, there is a serious gap in talent with these two teams.
Not a goalie.
No, but I happen to think Vasilevsky is every bit as good as Carey Price. But that's just my opinion. But I mean, shutting a team out in Game 7 and winning 1-0. I mean, I know it was a great defensive effort by Tampa Bay, but nonetheless, he made some great saves in the last 10 minutes of that third period to preserve that win, and he played very well. And he's been really good in these playoffs as well.
Carey Price hasn't had to make big saves in a Game 7 because they kick everybody's ass way before Game 7.
That's true.
Ryan Brodo's in the house. If you missed the Monday morning quarterback show, go ahead, download it wherever you get your podcast: Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, iTunes. A lot of Sixers talk. A lot of Sixers fans still trying to figure it out, Brad. They're still like stunned, I feel like.
Oh, listen. You should be stunned because, I mean, it's not like. I mean, you didn't go out and lose the way Brooklyn lost, okay? And I think had they gone out the way Brooklyn lost and given it their all, and everybody played as well as they could, and some guys just couldn't play because of their injuries, and the Nets basically lost that series because Kevin Durant's toe touched the line. And they didn't get the 3-pointer. They only got the 2-pointer. I mean, something like that, you can kind of, if you're a Net fan, you can accept that. But as a Sixer fan, the way Simmons pissed it away like that, that's just, it's not acceptable. And
but the Nets also played Milwaukee.
Yes.
Who's an excellent basketball team.
Oh, yeah. No question. And I think that the Bucks sent the Hawks quite the message in Game 2. Of that series.
Yeah, that Game 2 of that series is a better indication of who the better team is and how the series is going to go.
Yeah, I mean, what happened is they made adjustments. Okay, I mean that game was never in doubt after about 8 minutes of the first quarter. Milwaukee showed them who's boss, and to be honest with you, I just don't think it's going to change all that much in Atlanta. Milwaukee is really good. They're just.
I think they're going to win it. All due respect to the Suns, who are playing terrific right now. You know how I feel about Chris Paul. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if the Clippers come back and win in 7 because Chris Paul just never wins. Never wins.
You know what though? You've got a whole legion of NBA fans who are rooting for him right now. So it's
everyone. I know everyone except me. Everyone except me, Brad. That's the way I fucking like it. Let's go. Go Clippers.
Hey, it could happen. I mean, it could happen, but
I would bet it. What are the odds on that right now? As they're lining up, anthems are done. They're getting ready to drop the puck in game one.
Here's the one thing you have to realize about Vasilevsky. He's got 4 shutouts in the postseason already.
He's a tremendous player.
So yeah,
he's a tremendous player.
I mean, you're basically looking at. I mean, as far as this goes right now, you're looking at Barry Bonds against Babe Ruth in goal. I mean, you got the 2 best goaltenders in the league right now, no question about that. You can argue who's going to be better in this series, and whoever's better in this series is going to win the Stanley Cup. But I think Price is going to have to outplay Vasilevsky for them to win again, because just Tampa Bay's talent level is so high.
Yeah, I just put $10 on it. Clippers in 7. Clippers in 7.
Clippers.
14 to 1 odds.
Listen,
let's go. Chris Paul, he's gonna fold up. He's like a fucking cheap suit. He's a tank. He's gonna fold up. Patrick Beverley's gonna get in his grill. He's gonna get in his head, and the Suns are gonna lose. And it's a shame because I love DeAndre Ayton and I love Devin Booker. I love Bridges. I love Crowder. I love their role players, but Cameron Payne's awesome. Hey, that's right. Yeah.
Bridges, Booker. I mean, the Suns are really good.
So we're underway here, game 1. What are you looking for? This is
well, you're going to have the feeling out period, and here's the first golden opportunity, and he missed. He's got a shot from the slot.
I mean, Canadiens, they've come out just as I suspected. They've come out fast, and they've come out well rested.
The Canadiens are playing at a very, very high level.
That wrist shot didn't miss by much.
He just missed it. Yeah, he just missed it. He had the spot too. He had some net to shoot at there.
But I think that Brendan Gallagher is going to have to step up. That's
absolutely.
The guy I'm looking for the Canadiens that's got to step up to win this game. I think he has 2 goals in the playoffs. Coming into the Stanley Cup Finals, I mean, this guy. The Flyers, they played the Canadiens last playoffs. I know that's a long time ago, but Brendan Gallagher was a pain in the ass.
Brendan Gallagher does need to score a little bit more. But I mean, really, I think Tyler Toffoli has to have a big series. I mean, he's the kind of player who's explosive. He can put the puck in the net. He had 28 goals in the shortened season this year. He's the guy. I mean, as far as the Canadiens are concerned, and Cole Caulfield needs to continue his superb play. And
what are you looking for? You're a puckhead. I call you a puckhead all the time. Your knowledge of hockey is so far suppressed. What are you looking for here in the early goings of this game?
Well, I think the Canadiens are going to try to intimidate them. Okay, and they're going to try to hit them and beat the crap out of them. And there was one that deflected off the skates. The key for Tampa Bay, really, if Tampa Bay is going to win this series and win this game and win the series, they got to get in front of the net.
There's that. It puts them in a headlock, sleeper hold, smell the glove.
Yeah, but
there's that intimidation you were just
really,
talking about.
That's their third line, and again, their third line is as tough as anybody. So I mean, that's what the Canadiens are going to be up against. You're going to be up against 3 lines that can score, and a 4th line that is not really a scoring line, but it's nasty and it'll bang you and it'll wear out the defenseman on Montreal, and that's something that they have to be on guard for.
Greg Balakovic's in the house. He disagrees to the poll, so he likes Tampa tonight. Thomas Arnone, he agrees to the poll. Canadiens fans deserve it. Haven't won since '93. They're an original 6 team. They have the most Stanley Cups of any team in the whole NHL.
Yeah, just to clarify that, okay? Understand that the Canadiens won a lot of those Stanley Cups. And I know I sound like sour grapes because I don't particularly like the Montreal Canadiens. But I'm going to tell you right now, they did not have any draft until 1966. Okay? All the French Canadians played for Montreal. The rest of the league, the United States was not prevalent in hockey back then. So basically, all the best players went to Montreal. There was no draft. Everybody was a free agent, and they had quite the unfair advantage when it came to that. So they were able to get all, guys like Cornwallis and Richard and Beliveau and all those guys. All those guys.
Having Ken Dryden in net, that didn't.
Well, Ken Dryden. I told you what I thought of Ken Dryden. A lot of people are not that high on Ken Dryden, but Ken Dryden was just great. And if you don't think Ken Dryden was as great as I keep telling everybody he was, take a look at who won the Stanley Cup before the Flyers won those two. Okay? And then who won the Stanley Cup right after the Flyers won those two.
Yeah, and who wasn't there.
Yeah, and who wasn't there. And then when the Canadiens played the Flyers with Dryden, just to show you just how good he was, they swept that great Flyer team in 75, 76. So and
I love these guys.
That Flyer team was still really good, by the way. Yeah, I mean that's just how it was. And I know he lost 3 games in the Summit Series, but you know what? Game 8, which was the decider, he won that game, and he was spectacular in that game against the Russians.
We're getting back into some basketball here. Thomas Lerner and Danny will be here. It's Danny Green being in Philadelphia.
I would agree with that.
He's got to take a pay cut. He made $15 million last season. He's not a $15 million player anymore. I'd love to have him. I really like Danny Green, and he was missed.
Does he want to stay here? Danny Green
at this juncture of his career, like he's going to be on a Philadelphia, a Lakers, a Nets, like one of those teams. He's going to want to win.
Well, he can win with Philadelphia.
Exactly.
As long as Joel Embiid is on this team, they're going to be playoff. They're going to be playoff and championship contenders. As long as Joel Embiid's body can stand up, there's a
Montreal is swarming here, Brad.
Yeah,
they are controlling the puck early. They look crisp and well rested, which is exactly what I predicted. Which doesn't surprise me. But
keep in mind, though, I mean, Vasilevsky is also one of the best goalies in the league, if not the best goalie in the league. I know how good Price is, but Vasilevsky is certainly no. As I said, this is like watching these two goalies is like watching Barry Bonds against Babe Ruth. I mean, you're talking about two of the greatest goalies you're ever going to see when they're hot. And Vasilevsky has been able to step up and win a cup. Unfortunately for Price, he's never had the talent around him to win and get to this point. He finally does. But
and then getting back to Tom's comment there about basketball, I mean, Ben is going for Dame. Let's go. I mean, I hope Dame Lillard's a terrific player, and if you have Tobias, Dame Lillard, and Joel Embiid as your big three, you're much more of a contender.
I don't see how you could lose a series like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take more than just Ben for Dame straight up. But I think anyone who has any type of basketball IQ whatsoever realizes that. But if you go to battle next year with Dame Lillard, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid as your top 3 horses, you have an excellent chance to win the East and win a championship. Much better than Ben.
I can't argue that. The only thing
Tobias and
the only thing I just don't know I just don't know if Portland really would want him. That's the only.
I don't understand how anybody can want Ben Simmons right now. And there's all these reports that teams are lining up, like the Timberwolves want him, the Spurs, Greg Popovich wants him, the Warriors are going to push for him. Wiggins in the 7th pick for Ben Simmons. See you, Ben. See ya. Even with the rant I just went on about the draft not being that great. Like I'll take
pick is within the top 8, and
I'll take Wiggins, and I'll take Moses Moody out of Arkansas. I'll take Isaiah Jackson out of Kentucky. I'll take someone, and then I'm still picking it in the later end of the first round. Bryce Blackwell, Dame is gone. I don't know what that means. I guess that means he thinks that Dame's not going to be on the Portland Trailblazers anymore. Green and Mobley can play. I'm not sold on Evan Mobley. I don't know enough about Jalen Green yet to comment either way. Davion Mitchell, I don't see a top 10 NBA point guard in Davion Mitchell. I see a bench guy. Jerron Wade, Luka Garza, the reigning National Player of the Year. I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know if he's going to be able to defend at the NBA level. So, he's probably going to be a second-round guy because of his lack of athleticism and lack of concerns on the defensive end of the floor in the NBA. I think that'd be a good.
There are also some.
That might be a good pick for your Knicks, Brad, at pick 32 in the second round, the first pick in the second round. Give you a big guy with some offense off the bench. And there we go. We have the first goal of the Stanley Cup Finals. The Tampa Bay Lightning have lit the lamp. And that's how it can happen with this team, Brad.
Yeah, that's it's Cernak, who's a guy on the third line. He's not even one of their top players, but they have so much punch and so many good players on this team. It's not just the top six that can score.
He cuts right down the center of the ice. He gets the deflection in.
Well, that's going to be the key. The Lightning have got to get into the slot. They've got to get into the middle of the ice against a very physical Montreal defense. But again, it's going to probably, if Tampa Bay can score a lot of goals, it's going to come from counterattacks. I don't think it's going to be plays where they're setting up in the zone because of the way Montreal plays defense. They kind of they play an umbrella type defense where they all collapse in front of Price, so it's very hard to get in front of the net. And that's why it's probably going to take rushes to score. And one thing the Canadiens I do think cannot match with Tampa Bay's speed. I do think Tampa Bay's got more speed than they do, and that could be something that could come back.
The Canadiens, they can't go down 2-0.
No, and they can't go up and down the ice with this team either. They've got to play disciplined hockey. Keep playing the neutral zone and take advantage of odd man rushes. That's how they're going to have to do it. You're looking at one of the highest scoring teams in the league. The Canadiens are not one of the highest scoring teams in the league, and they have to play tight defensively. But again, Tampa Bay. One thing you don't want to do against the Canadiens is fall behind, and Tampa Bay scored first, and that's a very good sign for them.
You just got to do what got you here. You can't try and match Tampa because you're going to get run out the building if you do that. The Canadiens need to do what got them there.
No, I think the Canadiens came out fired up, but they've got to be smart. They've got to be smart.
The problem is the Canadiens haven't really generated anything since that strong flurry they had in the first 3 minutes of the game, which they got to put pressure on Tampa. If they let Tampa just coast on defense, allow them to set up their offense, and let them rush up and down the ice like they've been doing the last 6 minutes of this game, it's going to be a short series.
Well, no, they can't go up and down the ice with Tampa Bay. Nobody can. That's the one thing that they have that that nobody can match. They can go up and down the ice. Well, they want a run and gun game. That's the kind of game they thrive in, and they have the defensemen to both score and defend, even on odd man rushes, and they got the goaltender to do it too. So, Canadiens just have to play smart. Don't get caught in odd man rushes. Okay, don't allow guys to gain the slot and have position in the slot. If you do, that's how Tampa Bay is going to score. And they scored that first goal from the slot. And there's another one from a couple of feet away, and now Tampa Bay is swarming. So, big spot in this game for the Canadiens. They've got to try to they've got to try to slow them down a little bit. And now here they come. If they can get the puck to 62, they couldn't quite do it. But that's
they're getting in there, but they really only have one chance.
Yeah, it's one and done for them. That's kind of what's going to happen with Tampa.
Well, here's something. They set it up at the point, but even then they can't.
Well, they were trying. That was a set play. He wanted to shoot it off the boards, so it would bounce.
Yeah, but Tampa looks like they're packed. When Montreal does get set up, the Tampa Bay's packing it in so that the
Tampa Bay is a very good defensive team. I mean,
Montreal, they can't. They're grinders, you know. Like
Yep.
they don't have the skill that Tampa. They're going to get those garbage goals in the front of the net, and
they can, and they can. The one thing that I think they can do is they can out muscle Tampa Bay for the most part. Other than maybe the fourth line, they can out muscle them. But again, if this becomes a skating series, Montreal is going to get killed. I mean, they can't play that way. They've got, as you said, they've got to do what got them there. They got to do what they did against Vegas. They got to play real good defensively and look for counter rushes. That's how they're going to score against this Tampa Bay team. I mean, them setting up, it's going to be hard for them to set it up in that Tampa Bay zone. They've got to try to counter attack because Tampa Bay is going to probably be out shooting them in every game. So that's going to be the key. It doesn't have to be pretty. Just it can be ugly hockey for Montreal. Just be smart. See, and all the support they have in the defensive zone just then. They had 3 guys back when they were breaking out. They're going to have to keep doing that and be careful because if they turn the puck over against Tampa Bay, it's going to end up in the back of the net. As well as Price has played, he had no chance in that first goal.
Like they're trying to dump and chase the Canadiens, and they're dumping, but they're not chasing. They're not winning the chase.
See, Gallagher.
You understand? But they're getting the puck, they're dumping it in, they're trying to chase it, but Tampa Bay's out hustling them, getting to the puck, and then starting right back on up the ice.
Well, what they have to do, they have to play it as it's going to be a long series. You dump the puck in, you hit the guy that gets the puck, okay? But they got to get in there and hit him when they get the puck and just try to wear them down because that's the one thing, that's Montreal's strength is wearing these guys down. So they're going to have to do that and be physical right throughout the game. Because if they're not, as I said, they can't skate with Tampa Bay, and it looks like right now that might be the case. I mean, they came out flying, and then Tampa Bay got their opportunity and they scored.
We're at a commercial break here in the action. We'll get you back to live reactions right when it comes out. The scoreboard in baseball looking as such: your Yankees tied 2-2 with the Angels in the top of the 5th in the Bronx. Phillies up 4-2, bottom of the 6th. We'll see if that bullpen can hold it down, get a big win over the Reds.
Who's going to close now?
I mean, they named Alivardo the closer. Then the first game he came in to close, he blew it. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know why they don't give Archie Bradley a shot. I mean, I like Alivardo out there. I mean, Neris can't try. I want to just tie cinder blocks to Hector Neris' feet and just throw him off the Walt Whitman Bridge and just watch him sink to the bottom. I can't do it anymore.
He's been, yeah, no, I understand. He's been really bad.
Same with Andrew McCutchen. I can't watch him play left field anymore. I can't do it. He's an aging player. He's past his prime.
You want a good laugh? Watch Miguel Andujar play left field, especially over this past weekend. Wow. Just
see, look at this. Look at these assholes with those masks on. Why do they have masks on? Who cares?
Because in Canada they're all.
It's not in Canada. It's Florida.
I know, but they're the Canadian coaches. So
stupid.
This is what they're used to. Well, listen.
Anyway, Nationals up 4-0 on the Mets, looking to close that gap in the NL East. Real barn burner. In Cleveland, 9-4, Indians over the Tigers. Kansas City up 5-4 in Fenway. That's another one of my baseball picks tonight. I bet against your Yankees, and I bet against the Red Sox. I'm anti.
Don't think that was a bad play with the Red Sox because they may, they may be a little flat after sweeping the Yankees.
The bottom 2, 0-0. Baltimore, Houston. Houston's really good. I think they're the best team in baseball right now.
Oh, they're sure playing like it. Which is one of the reasons why I'm praying the Nationals stay in the race because I just have this sick feeling that if the Nationals end up trading Scherzer, he'll end up on Houston. Or even worse yet, Boston. Because I have no faith in Brian Cashman to ever do the right thing anymore. I've completely lost faith in him.
Big one in the NL Central, 2-2 in the second. Cubs, Brewers. Arizona, St. Louis. Arizona, St. Louis is nothing in a second.
That division is garbage.
Colorado and Pittsburgh, that game's done. Colorado wins 2-0. But both those teams stink.
Boy, you talk about bad baseball teams.
There's no hope. Arizona's really bad too.
Yeah, no, I know they are. And you know, Baltimore's back to being Baltimore again. They're horrible. And you know, Detroit is pretty dreadful too. Well, their pitching is getting a little bit better, but they're dreadful. And Kansas City isn't much better. For whatever reason, I thought, as you did, that they would be a much better team this year than they were.
And Brad, what did I tell you that needed to happen for the Phillies to be a 90-win playoff team? What 2 players did I tell you had to step up, strap on the big boy pants, and play big league baseball? Do you recall?
I believe Rhys Hoskins was
Rhys
one.
Hoskins, that is correct. Rhys Hoskins has not put on his big boy pants.
Yeah,
Rhys Hoskins is not playing big league baseball.
I know
He's an absolute busher.
You weren't complaining about Bryce, and you weren't complaining about JT.
Bryce has been awesome, honestly. I mean, I know he's been dinged up here and there this season. You don't like to see that, especially when he makes so much money. But listen, Bryce Harper, I think he has 11 solo homers on the season. Like, it's not his fault. None of these jackasses can get on base for Bryce to hit him home. I mean,
I remember you had mentioned Hoskins. I think Aaron Nola.
Aaron Nola,
wasn't it? Nola, right?
Who's been up and down.
Yeah, I mean, you need a little. He pitched his heart out against the Mets.
Yeah, I know, and he broke the MLB record with 11 strikeouts in 4 innings, and good for him. But I need to see performances closer to that on a more consistent basis. Not this good start, bad start nonsense with, I can't pitch on the road and, I can't pitch against good teams. Like, I need you to be more of an ace. He's a homegrown guy. But, I mean, you look at the top. I mean, Wheeler, Harper, Realmuto. Segura's been excellent at the plate, but he's hurt. I don't know. They're up 4-2 right now. Hopefully they can salt it away.
Their problem has been their bullpen. Their bullpen has just completely let them down this year. They'd be in first place if they had half of those out of those 20 blown saves this year. If it was 10, they'd be in first place by 3 or 4 games, right?
Yeah, because Brad, it's disappointing. It's disappointing because the Mets aren't that great.
No,
and the Braves are giving everybody hope because they're by far the most talented team, but they stink. So, like, teams like the Phillies and the Marlins and the Nationals, they're able to hang around with the Mets and the Braves.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's crazy to think that
the Mets aren't good. Right? The Mets aren't good.
They're okay. I mean, listen, they've been gritty. You have to give them credit for being gritty. I mean, with all their injuries they've had, they always seem to score enough runs. And then they have the stud of all studs pitching right now, and Rom right now is just ridiculous. Although I'll tell you what, you guys deserve some props. You actually scored 2 runs against him, which is more than he's given up in like the last month, right? Something.
Yeah.
I mean, his ERA from 0.47 to
I think it was
60.
Yeah, I think it was 31 straight innings. He didn't let up a run, and the Phillies got him for 2, and they still lost 4-3.
Yeah, but I mean, for him, that's getting bombed. You see what Gaudreau is doing, Rob?
It's getting physical.
Yeah,
like, it's definitely
Gaudreau is just the kind of play. I mean, and I got to tell you, Gaudreau. If I were the Rangers, I believe he's a free agent. He's not going to be that expensive. That's a guy. If you're a Ranger fan, you got to get. I mean, the Rangers are easy to play against. They don't have enough physical players. That's the guy you need to have on your team. I mean, look at how he got hit, and then he got right up. He got right up, and then said, "Okay, you want to mess with me now."
Who's Gaudreau? Back. Johnny Gaudreau?
No, Barkley Gaudreau.
Okay. I'm gonna say I got confused for a second.
there's Coleman and there's Gaudreau. And you put them in maroon out there. That's the fourth line, and that fourth line is tough.
Canadians are being physical. 22 hits already. Still 6 minutes left in the first period. Down 1-0.
That's what they've got to do. I mean, that has to be the way they win. They win.
Like, look at that cross-ice pass by Tampa Bay there.
Yeah, it's right on the money. I mean, they've
extremely skilled.
Yeah, and they're a good forechecking team. They force turnovers. See, there's one in there. There's a classic one right there. And now Tampa Bay has a shot.
See, now you need a rush offense. You need to get the.
If you notice, though, Montreal is very good at clearing the front of the net, and Price saw it all the way. And even though he kicked out a rebound, Montreal was there for the rebound. I mean, that's just the sign of a good defensive team. One and done. They're not knocking in rebound. They're not getting rebound opportunities, and that's one of the trademarks for the Canadiens right now in this playoff series. They're not giving up second shots, and if you don't give up second shots, you have a very good chance to have a very good, nice low goals against average if you're a goalie. You see what I mean? Though he was to the side of the net, he wasn't to the front of the net on that one play. You see, and there's another Tampa Bay guy trying to get to the front of the net, and what happened? He was knocked on his derriere. That's Canadian hockey.
Well, they need to get possession of the puck. They're getting peppered right now.
Yeah, and Tampa Bay's puck possession is
yep, there you go. They're going to freeze it there.
You got it. The one thing you can't let Victor Hedman wind up from there either. That's a recipe for.
It's right at the top of the slot. That's in way too close.
Yeah, I mean you can't let a guy like that shoot. That guy's got one of the hardest shots in the league. So here's a nice little exchange between Hedman and Gallagher right there.
Gallagher's been in the middle of everything from a physicality standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, for God's sakes, they were ready to run into the net to go get him. Just he's a pest, and he has to keep playing like that. So
isn't it unbelievable though? Like you watch these two teams play, then you watch the Flyers and the Rangers play respectively, and you just realize how far away they are.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, look, they both have.
Especially the Flyers. I mean, my God, they're nowhere. They're nowhere. They're not even in the same stratosphere as these two teams playing in the Stanley Cup Finals.
The Rangers are the problem with the Rangers is that they're a two-line team, and you can't win as a two-line team. And their defense is still pretty young. And you take a look at Tampa Bay's defense, okay, and they are loaded with experienced players, and you don't see a lot of rookies, and you don't see a lot of guys panicking with the puck or giving the puck away. I mean, they seem to know, they make a lot of trades and they trade a lot of young players to get some of these veterans in there. But if you ever notice, the guys they trade, they never seem to come back and haunt them. I mean, how many ex-Lightning players are in the league and they're hurting other teams? Just doesn't seem like that happens very often. I mean, they're just a very smart team.
It's such a great commercial. With Kayla Maroney, the gymnast. I think it's a Geico commercial.
Yeah.
She's got to get the Frisbee on the roof, and she does a bunch of flips and twists, and she goes on the roof and gets it, and then they just throw it right back on the roof, so she has to do it all again.
Yeah. Well,
it's a great commercial.
Yeah, now they're showing some of the physical play, as we said. Oh, that was a nasty little spear there.
Yeah, it's all – notice these are all –
Oh, that was oh boy! I mean, they're really coming after it.
They don't care. They're just hitting anything that moves.
Right, and and that's the problem with a team like the Rangers. If when they have to play teams like that, they get their brains beaten because they don't have any physical players to answer back, and that's why they've got to get tougher. And I think the Flyers have the same problem. I don't think the Flyers are physical enough either. I mean, they have a couple of physical players on their team.
The Flyers aren't anything enough.
Yeah, they're
just not anything enough.
Overall, they don't hit enough. I mean,
I don't understand how a team can go from an up and coming team to a team that I think is just so far away from winning that it's just like kind of pathetic.
I don't know who to blame, whether it's the coach or what have you. I think the problem with the Flyers is the way they're constructed. He said their veterans are way older than their best young players. It had to be a little less. The age difference has to be a little less now.
But who are the Flyers good young? Who are the Flyers good young players?
Well, guys like Frost. I mean,
okay.
I'm trying to remember some of the players in their team.
But like Couturier, he's not really young anymore.
Well, no, he's 29 now. That's the problem with the Flyers is their best players are 29. Voracek is 31, and Giroux's 32 or 33 now.
Yeah, here we got a power play. We got a power play here in the game.
Right. The rest of the team is more like 23, 24 years old.
But I don't think the 23 and 24-year-olds can play. I think Nolan Patrick can play.
I think he's going to get traded. Konechny, I don't think had a good season. I think he's going to be better next year. I mean, a lot of problems happened this year. With a short training camp. And a lot of these guys got off to bad starts, and then got injured. I mean, you get a lot of that. When you have a lot of that, I think some of the stuff that happened this year you have to throw out. And hopefully next year they'll just be a better team. Now Montreal's on the power play. Tampa Bay almost scored before, so we'll see how they can set this up. Montreal has got to take advantage of these power plays. I mean, that's the one thing they've got to do. Wow. That almost worked. See, they haven't they have the puck now. They possessed it a little bit. Now they got some possession and can set it up.
There you go. Get it back to the point. I mean, that almost went out of the zone.
Somebody's got to stand in front of the net, though. Now they got somebody in front of the net. Look for the shot now. There it is. Okay, and now they cleared. But, I mean, Montreal has to make sure that they got guys in front of the net when they're shooting the puck. Now I guess they got their I think they got the big boys out there now.
I mean, this is not a good power play for the Canadiens.
No, this power.
They almost gave up a shorthanded goal. They had a decent little attack time.
Yeah, they're bobbling the puck.
And then they bobbled it out of the zone, and that's probably pretty much going to do it for the power play. So that was not a good power play at all.
No.
Against a team that doesn't really make stupid mistakes.
Well, they will on occasion, but I mean that could be a too many men on the ice call right there. I'm surprised they didn't call too many men on the ice. Didn't that puck hit somebody going to the bench on Tampa Bay?
Close, I guess, but
maybe it didn't hit. I thought that puck hit him. Well, whatever. I mean, if it didn't hit him, then they're not going to call it. If the puck hits him, then they're going to call it. And now Montreal's set up.
Yeah, it's over though.
Yeah, but
it's 5-on-5.
Yeah, but they just got it out of the zone. Now, Tampa Bay doing a nice job so far, and really they've had the better play so far in this period, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the Canadiens won like the first 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, Tampa Bay's
kind of been all Tampa Bay ever since.
Yeah,
See, now you
could be controlling them. I mean, the one thing
now they can dump it in so they can change, and then they don't.
You got to hit them. You got to hit them though. I mean, Tampa Bay is just getting to the puck first, and here's a mistake.
Couldn't quite take advantage.
No, but when they dump the puck in like that, everybody's got to pay a price. You got to make sure you hit these guys. You know, that's something Montreal has to do. There you go. Now you got to face off, and there's an opportunity now. And those are the kind of things right there that they're going to have to do. They're going to have to be able to get face-offs and try to score off of face-offs too. Those are other ways that you can score. You know, face-offs are kind of like in soccer, the free shots in soccer. That's kind of like what face-offs are. If you have a guy who's doing face-offs.
Speaking of soccer, Brad, I was watching the Spain-Croatia game today.
It was 3-1 when I was watching that game.
Croatia stormed back.
Are you serious?
They tied it at 3. They tied it at 3 in the last in extra time. They lost 5-3 in overtime, though.
Oh, okay. Well,
but it was quite.
That would have been a major upset
it was quite a contest. And then Switzerland was playing
Croatia.
France, and I don't know how that ended.
Yeah, I would think France is a lot better than Switzerland, but then again,
France is the number one team in the world.
Okay, then I was right.
Yeah.
I'm not that knowledgeable when it comes to overseas soccer. The Premier League I watch a lot, so I kind of know that. MLS I watch a lot, so I kind of know that league.
See, now this is a problem, Brad, because Tampa Bay is about to go on a power play here.
And oh boy, I'll tell you what, that didn't look good. But you know what? If it banged up Kucherov a little bit, you got to hit him as much as you can. 2
minutes well spent.
Well, the bright side is that there's only 45 seconds left.
See, now I think that this is like an advantage for Montreal, because not an advantage. That's the wrong way to phrase it. But you got to hold them off for 45 seconds. Then you go in, you regroup, and you hold them off for 1:15. The
only problem is that when you start the second period, you got a clean sheet of ice, and that helps the skill players set up on the power play. And also, you get the big boys can play the whole power play too. Oh boy, that was close.
True.
So yeah. I mean, there's two ways of looking at it. I happen to think that it's an advantage. It's an advantage for Montreal because you kill the first 45 seconds.
Yeah, and then you have to chill out. You chill out. You regroup, right. And then
the only problem is then you have the coach between periods. The coach is going to be sitting there, diagramming a bunch of plays for them for the next minute and 15 seconds. That's what they're going to be spending the between period strategy doing. Is they're going to say, okay, here's a minute 15 seconds. This is what we got to do. That was a great save by Price. I mean, that was a.
I mean, he's played well, and Vasilevsky, he really hasn't been tested. Not many chances.
Couple of shots early, but the problem is if they have to test him, he's going to make a lot of those saves too. I mean, that's what makes him so tough. See, the thing is, I don't know if Montreal is better than the Islanders. I mean, I just can't imagine Montreal is better than the Islanders. The Islanders have a lot of guys who could score as well, and I just don't know that they're better than them. But the way they played against Vegas was just so impressive. It's really hard not to think that they have a chance to do it.
All right, it's end of 1-0, Tampa Bay. Brad's got the Lightning, 6. I have the Canadiens in 6. MLB trade deadline, the last 15 minutes before the flight zone takes over. Around 9:15, we'll be off out of here. MLB trade deadline, fastly approaching, Brad.
Yeah, I think the way the Yankees are going right now, they could be sellers.
What do you mean by sellers? Who's going to go?
Their bullpen. Guys like Chad Green. They'll keep Loizaga, but Chad Green could go. Zach Britton could go. I mean, you can get a lot for a decent
But
relief.
why would you do that? The Yankees have a pretty good farm system, and they don't want to bring them up.
Probably. I think the Yankee farm system right now is extremely overrated. Okay, if they've got such a good farm system, where is it? Okay, they've got 3 real good pitchers in AAA. That 2 of them were just promoted, and then Davey Garcia, for whatever reason, has completely gone into the tank this year. So you got them. From what I read in all the Yankee lines with their management, the only guy that's untouchable in their whole system right now is Jason Dominguez. Everybody else is supposed to be available. Well, we'll see if Cashman pulls the trigger. Cashman doesn't seem to want to trade any of these guys, and what annoys me is the fact that if they have such a great farm system and you don't want to trade any of these guys, how come none of these guys are up? You know, I mean, you wouldn't trade Florial, and now Florial is 25 years old, and you got to wonder if he's even a prospect anymore. You know, and you've been waiting forever for Frazier. You give him a chance, and he's hitting 180. So I mean, what was the point of that? And you know, Andahar, you're giving him another chance, and he's so bad with the gloves. There's really nowhere to put him. He's more like a DH. But you got Stanton, who has to be the DH because he makes $29 million. You know, you can't put him in the outfield because, you know, if some rain actually falls on his head, he might get a concussion. You know, or he might pull a hamstring. You know, running from the dugout to left field. So I mean, that's it. The Yankees are in a really screwy situation. So my opinion is,
well, I mean, if you make Zach Britton and Chad Green available, I mean,
well, they'd be throwing away the season. But I mean, you have to look at it this way: if you're looking at a guy where you can get the most value, okay, relief pitchers. Everybody wants relief pitchers. Okay, that's what everybody wants, and that's what everybody needs. I mean, you're not going to trade Judge. I can't imagine that would happen.
Did they pay Judge yet?
No, not till next year.
So that's interesting.
He's a free agent.
Well, Chad Green and Britton, I mean, I know the Mets and the Yankees never make trades, but the Mets will be buyers. The Nationals will be buyers.
There is no way the Yankees are going to trade anybody good to the Mets because the Mets in all these years have screwed the Yankees so many times by trading guys to Boston, to Toronto, and to Baltimore. There is no way the Yankees are ever going to help the Mets. The Yankees would trade somebody to Atlanta, the Phillies, or Washington before they traded somebody to the Mets.
Yeah, but, I mean, you got the Dodgers. The Dodgers, they're always aggressive. The Houston's, you got them. They're going to be all in. They have a terrific team. I don't know what Oakland can add in terms of payroll, so probably not much.
They can add something, though, I would think. I mean, they're a smart organization. They can always figure out a way to, to find something in there, find something in the kitty to add to that team. They will. Oakland, in my opinion, right now, and I've watched Oakland play a few times. Their problem is their bullpen. Their bullpen right now is a mess. They really haven't.
If I'm the Yankees, I'm definitely trying to get young players from the A's. I mean,
Absolutely. I mean,
maybe you pay half the salary and you get a better prospect or something like that. I don't know. I can't imagine the Yankees being sellers at the trade deadline, Brad.
I got to tell you, Rob, I don't know.
Because they're going to stand pat and hope that they get hot and go on a run. But I don't think they're good enough to go on a run.
But they can't beat the Red Sox, okay? And their record right now, if you look at their record against the American League East, they're 6-6 against Toronto, they're 5-8 against Tampa Bay, and they're 0-6 against Boston. So let's see, that's 6. That's 6. 8 is 14, and 6. They have 20 losses in their division, and they've got 11 wins. They're 11-20, and I'm not counting Baltimore because Baltimore stinks. But they're 6-4 against Baltimore, but I'm not going to count them. And against the three teams that I don't think they're as good as right now, they're 11-20, and that's a disgrace. And the fact that nobody gets fired, nobody gets sent down to the minors. There's no reaction from anybody in the Yankee front office after getting swept twice in a row by the Boston Red Sox. That tells me all I need to know about Steinbrenner Jr. So he just doesn't give a crap. He's an owner. He says this is how much money you get to spend, and that's it. And he's not going over the salary cap or whatever you want to call it, the luxury tax. He's not going to pay a penny in luxury tax. And that's a disgrace. And you know why it's a disgrace? Because this is a $5 billion ball club. Okay? A $5 billion ball club. They have a network that's worth almost $1 billion. Okay? So Hal has $6 billion in assets, and this idiot is crying that he doesn't want to spend a little extra because God forbid he might have to send extra money to another team. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And you know what's going to happen is this, okay? Hal is just going to keep doing this unless the Yankee fans stop showing up. So what I'm hoping to see is if the
but this is why these owners in the Northeast, they have the fans by the balls.
Yeah,
they're the fans by the balls because we love our sports. We're tough, passionate sports fans that care, and we're never going to not show up to the game. And they know that. Yeah,
I know, and that's and that's a problem. Okay, and I think that was a problem with the Knicks for a while too. I mean, the Knicks haven't not sold out since like 2005 or 2006. As bad as they've been, they sell out every game, and that's incredible that they do that. Because New York fans love their basketball. Now they don't always sell out with the Rangers, okay? Because I mean, hockey is, as you know, is just not as popular as basketball. But the Giant games are almost always sold out. They have like a 10-year wait for season tickets. The same thing with the a lot of the Jet games are sold out. I mean, all the tickets are sold. They don't necessarily show up to the games. I mean, they get a lot of no-shows with the Jets, but all their tickets are sold out. I mean, it's so that these owners, they're getting their money, so there's never an urgency. Unless they're embarrassed into it the way John Marrow was last year, to actually come out and have a press conference at the end of the year. They hide, and Hal is hiding in his little ivory tower, and he doesn't want to say a word, and it's just disgraceful because Yankee fans want to hear from him. They want to hear from him. They want to hear from Cashman, and they're both hiding. And that
I would hide too if I were those two with the kind of season the Yankees are having.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to be. But you know what? That's the kind of thing.
Yeah, but these guys, they're entitled debutants. They just don't care. They think they're better than.
But they owe it to the fans.
Yeah, but they don't see it that way. I agree with you, but they don't see it that way.
No, and the thing is, what they are risking is the fact that Yankee fans will show up to a point, but I just have a funny feeling that if Cheap Hal doesn't show his face somewhere and start at least pretending he cares, and Cashman doesn't start pretending he cares, and not bullshit everybody with this, I'm aggressive, yada 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 yada. No, you're not. You're not aggressive. You're not willing to trade anybody. You're prospect hugging again. Just like he always does. Let's see Starling Marte come to the Yankees. Okay, let's see the Yankees actually make a trade and get him and bring him in.
Well, it looks like that. According to Bob Nightingale, USA Today, great insider, great follow on Twitter if you love baseball. John Heyman. It looks like that Eduardo Escobar, power hitting middle infielder for the Arizona Diamondbacks to the Chicago White Sox, seems imminent.
That would be a good trade for the White Sox because right now the White Sox need help really badly.
I mean, they just can't catch a break. They're a really good team, but I mean, Eloy Jimenez goes down, and then Luis Roberts goes down, and now Nick Madrigal goes down.
Yeah, they've been plagued with injuries. So I mean, it's very unfortunate for them. They've had no luck at all.
I would imagine David Peralta would be traded
there
as well.
He's old. He's old now, though. I mean, he's 34 years old now. And he's always been injury prone. See, I mean, I like David Peralta. Don't get me wrong. I've always liked him. I mean, I wouldn't have minded him for the Yankees, but he's old and he's getting hurt. He is a good left-handed bat, but he can't play center field, and we need a center fielder. I mean, Aaron Judge, and God bless him that he's been going out and playing a lot of center field, and he's actually played the position really well. But you don't want him playing center field with that arm. You want him playing right field with that arm, where he can really be, especially at Yankee Stadium with the short porch. He gets to play because of the short porch. He's going to play shallow, and he can, basically he can throw almost everybody out and keep runners from second base from going to third. When he's in center field, you don't get that advantage. His center field is 408 feet away, so you have to play a lot deeper. So it just doesn't make sense. They need to get a center fielder, and Marte would be perfect for them. I know he's a right-handed hitter, but I mean they've got to get a guy who can who can actually hit for average, and make contact with the ball, and not have all these guys who are striking out all the time. Because it's just getting to a point where it's almost nauseating to watch this team.
Oh, my God. Bullpen woes continue in Philadelphia. That is a grand slam home run for the Cincinnati Reds in the bottom of the 7th.
It wasn't Castellanos by any chance, was it?
It was Castellanos.
Oh, good. He's on my team, so.
Oh, he's on your fantasy team?
Yeah, he's been great this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's leading the league in bat. He's probably going to be an all-star.
Yeah.
So on that note, Phillies bullpen up to its old tricks, just some awful baseball. But this is what happens when you let Spencer Howard go 3 innings, and at the first sign of trouble, you just pull him out because you're scared he's going to get his feelings hurt. It's total nonsense. Ugh, they make it so hard. And I'm trying not to give up on them, but they're just a bad baseball team. They really are.
As are the New York Yankees, who right now are trailing 4-2.
All right. Flight Zone coming up, about 15 minutes. Stay tuned for that. Thank you to everyone who liked, subscribed, shared the show. Thank you to everyone who commented on the show. Thank you to Frank Vesby for producing the show. Thank you to our great sponsors, Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal, Body Check Wellness. Don't forget about the A2D membership, $9.99 a month. You get a bunch of perks. If you missed the Sports Hound tonight, download us in podcast form. Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, iTunes. And now the Reds are just playing wiffle ball. They're just playing wiffle ball. Votto, double, down the line, into the corner. Sure, the Flight Zone. Sure, they'll be talking Ben Simmons. Sure, they'll be talking Sixers. Sure, they'll be talking some Phillies. Stay tuned for that. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Until next Monday, peace out, everybody.